Okay, in this video we're going to look at the two coordinate geometry questions. First one is of the line. It says the points A, B and C are shown in the diagram below. Find the equation of the line through the midpoint of AB. So the first thing you're going to do here is find the midpoint of AB. Okay, you should be able to use your formula to get this. It is 1, 3. Okay, which is perpendicular to AB. Okay, so obviously first then I need to find the slope of AB. Okay, and you're using your slope formula. It'll be 9 minus 3, so 9 plus 3 over 4 minus 2. So that will work out as 2, sorry. Okay, so the slope of AB is 2. So the perpendicular slope then has to be minus 1/2. And that's all I need to find the equation of the line. Y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. Y minus 3 is equal to minus 1/2 x minus 1. Okay, you're going to multiply here by 2 to get rid of your fraction. Okay, in simplifying all of this, you should be able to get that x plus 2y minus 7 equals 0. Okay, or some people like to write their numbers over the other side. X plus 2y is equal to 7. Okay, either one of those for that should have been easy enough. The next one was looking for the circumcenter. So basically, if I go back here, the circumcenter is taking any other line. Okay, so I can take CA or I can take BC. Okay, sorry. So if I take AC, I'm getting the perpendicular. Okay, that's not the midpoint. I'm getting the perpendicular midpoint for that. Okay, so obviously my drawing isn't great here, but we're looking for something around there. Okay, for the circumcenter. Okay, which means that I now need to get another midpoint. So if I get now the midpoint of AC, okay, and again, using your formula, that should work out to be minus 3, 0. Okay, and it should look relatively like that from the graph. The next one, you've got the slope of AC, okay, which is minus 3. The perpendicular slope of AC is then 1/3. Okay, the equation y minus 0 is equal to 1/3 x minus 3. Okay, rearranging that, we'll get, again, multiply by 3 here. Okay, we should get x minus 3y is equal to minus 3. Okay, or in slightly different. Then I want the point of intersection of those two lines to get the circumcenter. Okay, and as always, point of intersection is going to be the simultaneous equations of the two lines. Okay, I'm not going to complete the simultaneous equations at this stage. You should be able to do that. You should get a circumcenter of 3, 2. Okay, when you complete your simultaneous equation. So x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 2. Sorry, y is equal to 2. Okay, then I'm on to the circle question. The circle has a centre of 7 minus 8 and passes through the point 2 minus 2. So if it passes through the point, okay, if I've got a centre of 7 minus 8 and I've got the point somewhere 2 minus 2, then the distance from there to there is going to be my radius. Okay, so I get the distance is root 61 using my distance formula or my length formula. Find the line CP. And then that's my radius. Simply put it into my formula for the circle. Okay. Q is the point on the circle S that is closest to the x-axis. Find in surd form the coordinates of Q. Okay, well, if I draw my circle like this, the point that is closest to the x-axis, okay, is going to be the very, very top of the circle. So it's going to be directly above the center. Okay, so the highest point of the circle, directly above the center. So then the x part of that has to be 7 because it's straight up. It was -8, and I have to go up root 61 units to get to q. So -8 plus root 61. Okay, if the radius was 4, I would go -8 plus 4, it would get me to 4. If the radius was 7, I would have, that would be 1. Okay, so that one was just literally looking at your diagram, really, or forming a diagram. Okay, this one, the point OR is also on circle S. Find the length of the chord POR is 10 units. The diagram shows OR1 and OR2. Find the two possible values of OR. Okay, here what's not to forget, okay, is P, okay, which we were actually told in the last question. Let me just remind myself here again. When it loads, P is 2 minus 2, okay, so, okay, remembering that. I have a center, okay, to any point along the outside, okay, is root 61, okay, so I know that's my radius, okay. I also know that I'm talking about a chord, and when you're talking about a chord, you've got to try and think of what's the geometry that we know about a chord. And I know that if I take a line from the center and put it through the chord, perpendicular to the chord, that it bisects the chord. Okay, so any line from the center, perpendicular to a chord, bisects a chord. Okay, so if that chord was 10 units in length, so I know the POR is 10 units in length. Okay, and by the way, I could have used this one also. Okay, then I have a right angle triangle here. Okay, I have the right angle triangle CP, and let's call this Q for argument's sake. Okay, this point in here, let's call it Q. Okay, I know that P to Q is 5 because it's half of 10, because that line was bisected. I know that root 61 is that distance there. And if I find this distance, then I will know the perpendicular distance from the line PQ to the point C. Okay. And in general, if I'm looking for two possible outcomes, okay, in general, you should be sort of thinking along the lines of that perpendicular distance formula. Okay. When I do my Pythagoras' theorem, so 61 squared is equal to 5 squared plus x squared, okay, you will get that x is equal to 6. Okay. So 6 is the perpendicular distance from the line POR to the point C. Okay, now I have a formula to deal with this. I know that the perpendicular distance is AX1 plus BY1 plus C over A squared plus B squared. Okay, so I know my point C. Let me just remind myself of my point C, which is 7 minus 8. Okay, so that's my x1, y1. Okay, but I need an equation of POR. Okay, so to use this formula, I need to have an equation of a line. The line I'm talking about, okay, is the chord POR. Okay, so just go back up to the question here, because it's important to always to sort of pause and think about what we're answering. So the point OR is also on the circle. So somewhere on the circle is a point OR. With that, there's a chord of 10 units. So I've used information about the chord. Okay, the diagram shows or1 and or2, the two possible positions of or. Find the possible equations of PR. Okay, so I'm not actually looking for the coordinates of or at all. I'm looking for the equations. Okay, and to do that, I would need slope. Okay, so for starters, the equations of PR, I know that they've both got the point P on them. Okay, but both of these, PR1 or PR2, would have a different slope. Okay, but let's just call the slope M. Okay, because at this point, I don't know what the slope is. It could be one of two things. It could be this line, or it could be this line. Okay, and the only difference, they both have 2 minus 2 as the point, so they've got a common point, but the only difference is the slope. So to represent this equation, okay, because I can't get the actual equation, but to represent the equation, y minus y1 is equal to m, x minus x1. Remember, it is a line, so I'm starting off with the equation of a line. I have y minus minus 2, so y plus 2, is equal to m, x minus 2. Okay, I've got y plus 2 is equal to mx minus 2m. I'm going to just rearrange this. 0 is equal to mx minus y minus 2m minus 2. Okay, so at this point, a is equal to m, b is equal to minus 1, and c is equal to minus 2m minus 2. Okay, and I can use this information. I'm just going to change my pen just to give us, just to make it a little bit easier for viewing. I know that line, regardless of where it is, because remember I said that I could have also used this one here, and this chord is also 10. Okay, so regardless, that distance from there to there, or from there to there, is 6. Okay, so the perpendicular distance of either of those lines, PR, or1 or PR2, is 6. Okay, so I've got 6 is equal to the modulus of m times 7 plus minus 1 times minus 8 plus minus 2m minus 2 over the square root of m squared plus minus 1 squared. Okay, and what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to square everything. Okay, so remember, when I square the right hand side, it squares the top and the bottom. Okay, so I go back to my green. I've then got 36 is equal to, okay, now I can clean this up a little bit, so it'll be 7m plus 8 minus 2m minus 2. Okay, and I can still clean that up a little bit further. The squared and square root cancel off, so m squared plus 1. Remember, minus 1 squared is 1. So 36, and I'm going to multiply both sides by m squared plus 1. So 36m squared plus 36 is equal to 7 minus 2 is 5m. I'm sorry, that should be squared. So remember, we squared it up here. 5m, and 8 minus 2 is 6 plus 6 squared. Okay, and I can drop my modulus brackets at this stage because I know now that it absolutely is positive because of the squared sign. Okay, then I have 36m squared plus 36 is equal to, when I multiply this out, 25m squared plus 60m plus 36. So just be careful with your multiplying. Rearrange it, and I should get 11m squared plus, so just double check I'm right on this, 11m squared, sorry, So my 236s are actually going to cancel off here. So 11m squared minus 60m is equal to 0. So it's a quadratic in the sense that I'm going to factorize out the m. So m 11 minus 11m minus 60 equals 0. M equals 0. 11m minus 60 is equal to 0. M is equal to 60 over 11. Okay, now I'm not quite done. I'm actually going to change my pen. Again, let's go for a nice purple color this time. Okay, so I have two equations, or two possible equations. One with a slope of 0, one with a slope of 60 over 11. Okay, so two possible equations. Okay, and you can go back up here. You can use your equation that you got, okay, which was mx minus y minus 2m minus 2 equals 0, because remember that represents both of the equations. And then simply m is equal to 0, okay, which you'll end up with y minus 2 equals 0. So minus 2 is equal to y. Okay, and that kind of makes sense because the line looks like a straight line, okay, under the x-axis. Okay, so that is the line, the straight horizontal line, y is equal to minus 2. And m is equal to 60 over 11. And again, you'll put 60 over 11 x minus y minus 2 times 60 over 11 minus 2. Okay, when you rearrange all of that, you'll end up with 60x minus 11y minus 142 equals 0. Okay, and that's your equation. All right, and that's the end of that question.